All right, thanks, guys. The Nets take on the Cavaliers. 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off in Cleveland. The Cavs are -3. Total was 228, down to 227.5. Currently, the Cavs are 150 on the money line. And at the moment, 53% is on the Cavs, 60% shaded toward the over. And speaking of the Cavs, 0-3 straight up to start the season. 127 points a game on average they're giving up. They're taking on a Brooklyn squad who is 10-3 ATS in their last 13 away from home. Now, total-wise, Cleveland's 3-0 to the over for the season. Brooklyn's 10-5 to the over in their last 15 away from home. So with all that said and done, give me the underdog Nets +3 and the over 227.5 in this one. Next game, the Mavericks take on the Hawks. 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off in Atlanta. The Mavs were 2, now -1.5. Total was 223.5, up to 234 and a hook. Currently, Dallas is $1.25 on the money line. A nickel move toward Dallas in the early going here. And at the moment, 61% is leaning toward the Mavs, 51% toward the under. And speaking of the Mavs, 2-1 straight up for the season, 2-1 against the spread as well. The Mavs are averaging 118 points per contest and shooting 46% from the field thus far. Meanwhile, on the other side, Atlanta's just 1-2 on the season, failing to cover in 2 out of those 3 ball games. This Atlanta defense is also finding themselves giving up 123 points a game on average, while also failing to cover in 6 out of their last 8 at home. Now, total-wise, the Hawks are 3-0 to the over thus far in the season. Meanwhile, 2 out of the Mavs' last 3 got over the total themselves. So with all that said and done, I'm going to go ahead and take the road faves in this spot here. Give me Dallas -1 after buying the half a point and the over 234.5 in this one. And with that said, welcome to the show. Got some lines and personal leans out for Wednesday's slate of NBA ball games. But before we get into all of that, I just want to quickly remind you to check me out at patreon.com/BrockPage. And with a documented win percentage of 64% for my last 22 underdog plays on that website, you're costing yourself valuable information each and every day you're not subscribed. Now, memberships begin at just $1.99 per month. There's also plenty of free content there as well. So once again, please feel free to just quickly hit that pause button right now and open up your browser. All you got to do is type in patreon.com/BrockPage. It'll only take you a few seconds. Link is in the description section below. And if you are a current patron of mine and you're currently watching this program right now, I simply cannot thank you enough. You most certainly make it all worth it. And with all that said and done, let's go ahead and jump right back into some more lines and personal leans for tonight's NBA action. All starts Eastern Standard Time. And on deck, we've got Knicks Heat, 7:30 Miami. The Heat are -7. Total was 224, down to 221 and a hook. Currently, Miami's the $4 favorite on the money line, 65-cent move toward the Heat. And at the moment, 62% are leaning toward the Knicks, 51% leaning toward the under. And speaking of the Knicks, they've dropped 3 of 4 matchups for the season, 3-14 straight up in their last 17 on the road. They've also dropped 12 out of their last 17 matchups, taking on Miami. The Heat on the other side, 109 points a game they're giving up, which is quite shallow in the NBA for this season. And total-wise, 2 out of their 3 games on the season also got over the total. So with all that said and done, I got to take the home faves to get the job done in the friendly confines. Give me the Miami Heat -8 and the over 221.5 in this one. Next game, T-Wolves Raptors, 7:30 Toronto. The Raptors are -8. Total was 224.5 all the way up to 228. Toronto's 345 for some money line cash. 25-cent fade of the Raptors on the money line. And at the moment, 62% is on Toronto to cover. 69% is shaded toward the over. And speaking of Toronto, 4-0 straight up for the season. 3-1 against the spread as well. They're giving up just 106 points on defense while also going 10-4 ATS in their last 14 at home against Minnesota. Now, total-wise, Toronto's 4-0 to the over in their 4 games for the season. Meanwhile, on the Minnesota side, they're 3-1 to the over for the season themselves. So with all that said and done, got to lean toward the hot hand in this one. Give me the Toronto Raptors -8 and the over 228 in this one. Next game, Hornets Bulls, 8 o'clock Chicago. The Hornets were 3, now -4.5. Total was 231.5, down to 230. The Hornets are the $1.80 favorite on the money line. 30-cent move toward the Hornets in the early going here. And at the moment, 62% are leaning Charlotte, 51% toward the under. And speaking of the Bulls, winless in 3 contests so far in the season, just 1-2 ATS in those 3 matchups as well. The Bulls are also just 1-6 ATS in their last 7, 0-5 straight up in their last 5, 2-7 outright in their last 9 at home. They're taking on a Hornets team who's successfully covered the number in 3 out of their 4 matchups for the year, and total-wise went 3-1 to the over as well. So with all that said and done, I got to lean toward the road faves in this one. Give me the Charlotte Hornets -4 and the over 230 in this one. Next game, Jazz Rockets. I don't know where that's at. 8 o'clock Houston. The Rockets were 3, now -2. Total was 218.5, now 219. Where is that game? There we go. All right. And at the moment, 60% are leaning Houston. 63% is shaded toward the over. And speaking of Houston, 8-2 straight up in their last 10 meetings with Utah. 7-3 ATS in those matchups. The Rockets are also 8-4 ATS in their last 12 at home against Utah, winning 4 out of their last 5 straight up in that very same category. The Jazz on the other side, just 1-2 straight up on the season, failing to cover in 2 out of those 3 matchups. The Jazz also failed to cover in 7 out of their last 10 and have lost 8 out of their last 9 straight up with Houston. Now, total-wise, Houston's 3-0 to the over so far in the season. 120 points a game they're giving up on defense. Meanwhile, on the Utah side of things, 2 out of their 3 games thus far for the year have gone over the total as well. So with all that said and done, I got to disagree with the early action on this one. Give me the Rockets -2 and the over 219 in this one. Next game, Pacers, Spurs, 8:30 San Antonio. The Spurs were 2.5, now 1.5. Total was 214 down to 211. San Antonio's $1.25 for some money line cash. 10-cent fade of the Spurs in the early betting. And at the moment, 66% are on the Spurs. 63% are now shaded toward the over. And speaking of the Spurs, 2-1 straight up for the season. 2-1 against the spread in those 3 ball games. They're averaging 121 points of scoring per game, while also going 11-2 against the points in their last 13 at home. They're taking on an Indiana squad who failed to cover in 2 out of their last 3. The Pacers also dropped 14 out of their last 16 games in San Antonio. Now, total-wise, Indiana's 4-2 to the over in their last 6 dating back to last season. Meanwhile, the Spurs on the other side are 3-0 to the over in their trio of games as well. I got to lean toward the Spurs at home in this one. Give me San Antonio -1 after buying the hook and the over 211 in this matchup here. Next game, Sixers, Bucks, 9:30 Milwaukee. The Bucks were 5.5, now 6. Total was 220.5 up to 224. Milwaukee's the $2.50 favorite on the money line. Nickel moved toward the Bucks. And at the moment, 54% are on Milwaukee, 63% shaded toward the over. And speaking of the Bucks, a perfect 3-0 straight up for the season, 2-1 ATS in those 3 ball games. They're scoring 118 points a game while also going 9-2 straight up in their last 11 at home against the Sixers. We are looking at a Sixers team who's in the second of a back-to-back tonight. They're also just 1-3 against the spread for the year, while also going a winless 0-5 ATS in their last 5 away from home. Now, total-wise, 3 out of Philly's 4 games for the season got over the total. Meanwhile, on the Milwaukee side, they're a perfect 3-0 to the over on their side of things themselves. So with all that said and done, I got to go just a little bit chalky on this one. Give me the Milwaukee Bucks -6 and the over 224 in this one. Next game, Grizzlies, Kings, 10 o'clock Sacramento. The Grizz are -3. Total was 219.5 up to 221. Memphis is 150 for some money line cash. Nickel moved toward Memphis. And at the moment, 62% are leaning Grizzlies, 67% shaded toward the over. The Grizzlies are 5-2 ATS in their last 7 dating back to last season. 2-1 against the spread for this season as well. They're 8-2 against the spread in their last 10 meetings with the Kings, while also successfully covering the number in 6 out of their last 8 on the road in Sacramento. And speaking of Sacramento, they've dropped 2 out of their last 3, failing to cover in 2 out of those very 3 ball games. The Kings are also giving up a rotund 131 points of scoring per contest. Now, total-wise, 4-0 to the over in Sacramento's 4 games for the season. I got to take the road faves in this one. Give me Memphis -3 and the over 221 in this one. Next game, Lakers-Suns, 10 o'clock Phoenix. The Lakers were 2.5 up to 4. Total was 234 up to 237. The Lakers are 190 for some moneyline cash, a whole 50-cent move toward Los Angeles. And at the moment, 69% is leaning LA, 53% shaded toward the over. Now, the Suns are just 1-2 on the season thus far, failing to cover in 2 out of those 3 ball games. They're also scoring just 105 points per contest and dropping 14 out of their last 16 at home. They're taking on a Lakers squad who, although struggle, have amassed 125 points of scoring per contest for the year. Now, total-wise, 3 out of LA's 3 games on the season all got over the total. Meanwhile, on the Phoenix side, their lone home game on the season got over the total as well. So with all that said and done, I got to imagine the Lakers will get their first win and cover for the season tonight over the hapless Suns. Give me the Lakers -4 on the road and the over 237 in this one. Next and final game, Wizards-Warriors, 10:30 Golden State. The Warriors were 10.5, now 9.5. Total was 235 and a hook, down to 235 even. The Warriors are the $5.25 favorite on the money line. And at the moment, 65% are back on the Warriors, 56% shaded toward the under. The Warriors are 5-0 straight up in their last 5 at Oracle, 7-1 straight up in their last 8 with Washington. The Warriors have also won 6 out of their last 7 matchups, taking on the Wizards in Golden State. And speaking of the Wizards, just 1-2 straight up for this season, failing to cover in 2 out of those 3 ball games. The Wizards are giving up 118 points per contest and failed to cover in 10 out of their last 12 away from home. Now, total-wise, when it comes to the scoring, all 3 of Washington's games on the season did go over the total. They also gave up 124 points of scoring this season in their lone home game as well. So with all that said and done, got to be chalky in this one. Give me the Golden State Warriors -9 after buying the half a point and the over 235 in this one. All right, folks, that is going to do it for me. But before I get out of here, I just want to quickly remind you to check me out at patreon.com/BrockPage. And with a documented win percentage of 64% for my last 22 underdog plays on that website, you're costing yourself valuable information each and every day you're not subscribed. Now, memberships begin at just $1.99 per month. There's also plenty of free content there as well. So once again, please feel free to just quickly hit that pause button right now and open up your browser. All you got to do is type in patreon.com/BrockPage. It'll only take a few seconds. The link is in the description section below. And if you are a current patron of mine and you're currently watching this program right now, I simply cannot thank you enough. You most certainly make it all worth it. And most importantly, thank you for watching today's program. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free information. And please don't forget to check me out at patreon.com/BrockPage.